Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are around the world, and welcome today to Postgrad Insight. Today, brought to you by Cardiff University. We're going to be going through some slides from the Admissions International Office, as well as hear from some current students as well, which will be great. So, just a reminder before we do take you any further, it's a live session. If you have any concerns, any questions, there is a chat facility or a Q&A facility where you can put your questions forward. We do have a Q&A session at the very end of the session where we'll endeavour to get round to your questions as much as possible. As you can understand, this will be a popular session, so we might not be able to get round to everything. This will be on social media also, so if you're watching on Facebook or on LinkedIn today, please use the messenger facility to directly message us and we'll be able to reach out to the university directly. If we do miss anything, it will be on demand and we will be able to reach out to you separately via email or via telephone number because we do have your details. But for now, I'd like to hand you through to Becky. Becky, over to you. I'll be back for the Q&A towards the end. And when you want the next slide, just let me know and we'll move on to the next slide.
Great, fabulous. Thank you so much, Gareth. So hi, everyone. Lovely to meet you today, wherever you are joining us from in the world, whether it be morning, afternoon, or evening. So I'm Becky. I work in the international office here at Cardiff University, and I'm going to take you through an introduction to Cardiff. I am also joined by three of our wonderful students who are currently studying with us, and they will give you a perspective into their time with us here at Cardiff. And as Gareth said, if you have any questions, please do just pop them into the chat box on the platform that you are watching from. So, Cardiff University was established in 1883 and it is a traditional institution. We have a very academic offering when it comes to the subjects that we have to offer. We are one of the members of the elite Russell Group. So you may have heard of the Russell Group. This is 24 research intensive universities here in the UK, and Cardiff is one of them. And we are the only Russell Group university in Wales. If you do know the geography of the UK, Cardiff is the capital city of Wales, sort of a devolved nation from England, but still part of the United Kingdom. And Cardiff has everything that you'd want a capital city to have to offer. It's just much more compact and a lot more easier and much more affordable than, say, some of the bigger cities such as London. We are ranked 186th in the world and 25th in the UK. And just to put that into perspective, there are over 10,000 universities across the world. And many of our programs, so when you look at it at a subject level, many of our programs are ranked in the top 5 and the top 10 in the UK, and also top 50 and top 100 in the world. And if we move on to the next slide, just a few facts about Cardiff. So we do have scholarships available. Later on in this presentation, I do have a whole slide dedicated to scholarships, so watch this space. That will be coming up soon. We have around 33, just under 33,000 students currently studying with us. And of those 33,000 students, we have just shy of 6,500 international students who have come from over 135 different countries. As I said before, Cardiff is a capital city, so it is very multicultural. It is estimated actually that over 194 different languages are spoken in Cardiff. So this really shows that Cardiff is a multicultural city. We have students from all over the world, so you'll be joining that wonderful community of people from everywhere across the globe. We've recently had a £6 million investment into our campus, including our Centre for Student Life, which is right in the heart of campus. And one of my slides a little bit later has a picture of the Centre for Student Life, and this is our one-stop shop for all student services. As I mentioned earlier, we are one of the 24 research intensive Russell Group universities. And another fact that is really well received by our international community of students who come to us every single year is that we guarantee accommodation in our university accommodation residences for international students. So we guarantee that accommodation. So it's something that you don't have to worry about. We do have specific accommodation for postgraduate students. As I said earlier, we are one of the Russell Group universities, so one of those 24 research intensive universities, and our research really matters to us, and it really drives our academic excellence. So we are 11th for research impact, and this is from the most recent research excellence framework that was released in 2021. And we're also 14th for research excellence as well. And our research contracts are worth more than £110 million every year. So our academic staff are from all different sectors across the UK. And this keeps us at the forefront of innovation here at Cardiff. Next slide, please. So as I mentioned before, we do have our rankings. And as I mentioned before, we are in the top, many of our subjects appear in the top 5 and the top 10 in the UK, but we also have global rankings as well. So I'm not going to go through all these because you can see it on screen, and no doubt you'll be able to watch the recording back, and hopefully you can see the subject that you're interested in on the lists here. So you can kind of see that lots of different subject areas are covered within our global and our UK rankings. And as mentioned, we are a very international university. We have, as I said, just shy of 6,500 international students. And also we have over 200 partnerships across the world. So this is partnerships with other universities to help really make students experience with us a global one, if that is what they want as part of their degree. And I'm not going to read these, but we do have some wonderful quotes here from some of our students. So we have a student who's on our MA Journalism and Media course, and also a lovely student from Syria who is doing a doctor in philosophy in dentistry. And they're just obviously talking about their wonderful experience, but you'll hear that from our students that we have in the room today. Now, as I mentioned earlier, we do have scholarships. So this is the scholarship slide that I was talking about. And for postgraduate students, we do have a few different scholarships available. So we have our Vice Chancellor's International Scholarship, and this is worth between £3,500 to £10,000 off of your tuition fees. If you go onto our website though, or scan the QR code, if you're watching on a laptop and you have a phone with you and you're able to scan that QR code. If you can't do that, then a simple Google search for our postgraduate scholarships will take you to the right page. And you'll be able to see if you're eligible for that scholarship. It is based on domicile, so in the country that you are currently domiciled in. But do have a look at that scholarship. We also have our India scholarship, which is worth £5,000. And then we also work with third parties such as Chevening, Beacon, and the Commonwealth Masters Scholarship, and also great scholarships as well, if you are a student from one of the 3 listed countries, so China, Indonesia, and Pakistan. But all the information, including eligibility requirements, are all on our website. And I recommend that is the place that you look, because that is where the most up-to-date information will be regarding our scholarships. We move on. So as I said, we have invested in the future, and we have put a lot of money towards our wonderful facilities. This is our Centre for Student Life. It is our one-stop shop for all student services. So any problems or anything that you need to go and sort out, it is the place to go. It's also where our careers team are focused. And it's also got wonderful facilities for you to just be able to do your work, to chill out and relax as well. So yeah, 50 million was invested in our Centre for Student Life, and also 300 million invested into our innovation campus and our social sciences research park as well, and 39 million invested into our School for Computer Science and our School for Mathematics as well. As you know, computer science, artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, it's one of these really big up and coming subject areas. So it's somewhere that we want to really make sure that we are at the forefront of that innovation. Next slide. Move on to the next slide. Thank you. So we do have a campus, and it is based in the city centre of Cardiff. Now, I do realise that this is quite a detailed picture that we have here on the left, but this is just to give you a bit of an overview. So there's a green circle in the middle. This encompasses our main campus. The red buildings that you can see, or the red blobs that you can see on this map, these are our academic buildings. So as you can see, our academic buildings are all really close together. Everything's walkable, and the city centre is just below that. If you squint, you can see it says city centre within that kind of orange circle towards the bottom of the picture. If you look at the top of the picture, you can see quite a large red sort of blob. This is our hospital. So this is the university hospital. It is the largest hospital in South Wales, and this is where our medicine students and our health sciences students work from as well. Now, you can probably see as well, there are some purple buildings kind of on the screen as well. Some of the purple buildings are very much close to the red buildings. This is student accommodation. So as I said earlier, we guarantee accommodation for international students coming to study with us for postgraduate studies. And you can see how close those accommodation buildings actually are. As you can see from this as well, as I said before, Cardiff is a capital city. It's has everything you'd want from a capital city, but it's very green, as you can see from the parks. It's very clean and it's very affordable. Cardiff is actually 41% cheaper than London to live. So your money goes a lot further, which is a big a pull point for students when they're looking at where they want to study, where they want to get an academically excellent degree, but they also want to be able to afford to live and enjoy the city and enjoy their time where they're living. So I think Cardiff kind of offers the best in both worlds in that respect. So we have our three sort of main colleges. So we do have our college for arts, humanities, and social sciences. And then within this college, we do have the academic schools. So we have business, English, geography, history, journalism, law, modern languages, music, social sciences. Try saying that fast. And Welsh. And then our next one on the next slide is our College of Biomedical and Life Sciences. So as the name suggests, this covers our biosciences, dentistry, healthcare, medicine, optometry, pharmacy, and psychology. And finally, we have our College of Physical Sciences and Engineering. So this includes architecture, chemistry, computer science, earth and environmental sciences, our engineering programs, mathematics, physics, and also astronomy as well. Now, we talked a little bit about the academic side of stuff, but also it's really important to know about student life and what it is like living in Cardiff. So as I mentioned, we do have students from all over the world, and we actually have over 210,000 alumni across the world who have experienced Cardiff life. Cardiff is used a lot for filming for very famous TV shows. For example, if you're a fan of Doctor Who or Sherlock or his Dark Materials, the campus is very beautiful. It has wonderful Edwardian buildings. You can probably see behind me actually one of these beautiful buildings. Inside they're wonderful and beautiful as well. So it's not uncommon to see film crews, film sets, and an academic from the School of Biosciences was saying to me the other day that he was in the main building and he saw people dressed up as aliens and thought, well, okay, yeah, somebody's clearly filming on the university campus today. We do also have 200 plus clubs and societies. And, this is a really good thing for students to be able to fit in. I 100% recommend that when you go to university in the UK, alongside your academics subjects, that you join one or two of the societies, because it's a really great way to make friends and to really explore a hobby that you're interested in or to find a new hobby as well. And we do have our Students' Union. We are second in the UK for our Students' Union and the support that it gives our students. And it's a really a wonderful place to hang out as well. And we also have over 1 million books and journals available on our library network. So as everything these days, the digital age is upon us. So you don't need to have the big heavy books. You can access these online. I did mention earlier about money and living expenses. A big draw for many students is that Cardiff is, got loads of things going on, but it is affordable. Everything is compact, everything is walkable. But also, if you are wanting to get a part-time job alongside your degree, you are in the middle of a city centre, so there's lots of opportunities to do that. Estimated living costs for a postgraduate student is just under £14,500 a year. And as I said, 41% cheaper than London, so money does go a lot further. The Students' Union, as I said, second in the UK. and it is home for all of our diverse clubs and societies, welfare and advice services, and it's basically it's a student voice for students, and it's how students can communicate with the university about things that are working and things that perhaps aren't working. And it's a collaboration to try and make the student life and student welfare at the university the best it can possibly be. And sport, I always get asked questions about sport because lots of students who come to the university have a really vested interest in sport or particular sports that they're interested in. It says over 60 clubs, but I actually am aware it's over 65 different clubs, sports clubs. And this is down to whether you're just enthusiastic about the sport and you just say perhaps want to play football or soccer, depending where you are in the world, and you just want to have a kick around with your friends, or if you want to play at a more competitive level, perhaps against other universities. There are different levels of engagement and different levels of ability. And it's really easy for you to be able to join these sports clubs. And again, it's a great way to make new friends. We do have sports training villages with indoor and outdoor facilities, fitness suite, conditioning rooms, physiotherapy clinics, artificial pitches. And yeah, we have a sports field with 33 acres. So if you are interested in sport, keeping fit, we have all those facilities, even within the city centre. Our international student support is also really a really good resource for our international students, whether it is academic support, if you need extra help when it comes to English language or maths and statistics, or academic referencing, which can be different from, say, undergraduate. It's a really good place to go to get that support. We also have student mentors and personal tutors as well. When you arrive at Cardiff as an international student, we have international inductions, international orientation. So this is to really help you fit in, to really help you get to know the new city. You know, you might never have been to Cardiff before, and you want to be able to discover where's the best place to go for dinner with your friends. So I would highly recommend that you join those international orientations. You go on tours to learn more about the city. We do run an airport collection service, and we do have a welcome week at the Students' Union for you to be able to look into those social activities as well. And our International Student Support Centre is well versed at supporting students with visa advice. We have a dedicated international careers and employability service. We have financial advisory team for international students, and also a welfare and settling in team for international students as well. We do also have dedicated support specifically for postgraduate students. So obviously here at Cardiff, we have an undergraduate student cohort, and we have our postgraduate student cohort as well. So we do have specific support services for postgraduate students, including our postgraduate network, which is an inclusive space for community and events, and directing students towards postgraduate specific resources. We have specific postgraduate study zones. We have a postgraduate teaching centre within our business school. And we have our doctoral academy as well for postgraduate research students, because we do postgraduate talk, but we do have our PhD and postgraduate research students as well. And the research students are supported by an academic advisor in addition to a personal tutor. So student futures, so we do have, as I mentioned, a specific student futures team, and this is a specialised career support for international students. So as well as having our career support for our UK students, we have one for international students as well. And they can help you with a wide range of resources, including advice, work experience, online tools to really get your skills up to par. You know, if you really want support with Excel skills, for example, you can access that kind of support through the student futures. But I'm actually one of the students that I've got in the room now, Sholka, she works for the Student Future. So I'm actually going to invite you to come on and just talk a little bit about the support that you give to our international students.
Sure. Sometimes I feel like the whole idea behind Student Futures is that students support students, and sometimes it does get quite intimidating and daunting to talk to an academic or a staff member. The whole idea behind Student Futures is that the Student Future assistants who are at the desk help students answer questions about CVs or cover letters. And we have international students on team who need to cater their CV to UK standards. And I first have been through the transition from moving my CV from India, where I was born and brought up, to a UK-based standard CV, and I quite struggled with it. And if there was a student coming up to me, international student coming up to me and asking me the advice, I'd be more sympathetic and understanding about how the whole situation works. So it's just one-on-one support that students give students, and we are open almost every day, Monday to Friday, 9:30 till 4:30. No appointment needed. All you need to do is just walk in with your CV or your cover letter or any questions you might have, and we'd be more than happy to answer them. So it's a lot of catered and tailored one-on-one support from students for students.
Thank you so much for explaining that a lot better than I do as somebody who works within the particular faculty there. If we move on to the next slide. So just talking about employability, because many students obviously come to university to really get the skills necessary to really then thrive in the job market once you have graduated. So lots of you are probably going to want to hear about the employability at Cardiff. So we are 12th in the UK for graduate employability, and we work with over 100 different international employers, and of these international employees, over 100 of them come and take part in frequent recruitment fairs for our Cardiff students. I must say, every week there's a new recruitment fair happening. This is kind of school specific, so there might be one for the business school one day, for the engineering school the next day, and I highly recommend that you do get involved with these and meet those employees, get your name out there, and do that networking. We do have an online graduate jobs board that you'll have access to as a Cardiff student, and there's over 1,000 different opportunities on there for you to really take note of and to engage with. And a percentage mark here, 88% of our international graduates were in highly skilled employment. So this is skilled employment that you need a degree, so highly skilled employment 15 months after their course ended. And as I said, obviously, with these international employers coming over and speaking to our students, it's an excellent opportunity to network. And we really do put an emphasis on employability and networking for our students, because it will only help you in the future for your future job search. So life after Cardiff. So once you have graduated, you might be thinking, well, what connections do you have? Where can I go? We work with so many different employers all over the world. At the bottom on the right hand side there, we've got some of the companies that you'll probably recognize. If you took the name of the company off, you'd probably be able to recognize their logo, because these are, globally recognized companies. And we also have a quote here from Hamza from Pakistan, who did a master's in logistics and operations management, and talking about how his support for his mock interviews really helped get him a job where he wanted to go in the future. But if you go on to our individual university course pages, you will be able to find different companies that we've worked with, and you can see where your future can take you. So just a little bit more on Cardiff as a city itself. So Cardiff, as if you wanted a map of the UK, Cardiff is, if you can see there, sort of bottom left-hand side, if you're looking at the screen, is the capital of Wales. We're about 2 hours away from London, really easily accessible from Bristol Airport and also London Heathrow Airport as well. We are voted the best and friendliest city in the UK. If you ask somebody in Cardiff for directions, you'll get a smile and someone will help you. As I mentioned, it's estimated 94 languages are spoken across our city, and we have lots of different religious and cultural facilities, including mosques, synagogues, churches and temples. Celebrations of different religious festivals happen every year as well. So it is extremely multicultural, even down to the international cuisine. If you're someone like me who likes to try different food restaurants and different, cuisines from all over the world, you'll really have the opportunity to be able to do that. There's also multiple food festivals as well. It is one of the safest regions in the UK, and it's normally parents that, like me, sort of, hearing that fact, but it's really good to know that it's a sort of, it's a safe region of the UK. And as I said, it's one of the UK's most affordable cities. It's actually the second most affordable city in the UK. So yeah, it's very green. It's very easy to travel round. Everywhere is walking distance, but if you're someone who perhaps doesn't want to walk, it does rain in Cardiff. It is the UK. Unfortunately, rain does happen. There are lots of buses that you can get round, and there's also a train network as well. If you needed, if you wanted, you didn't want to walk, perhaps that particular day. But as you can see from the picture here, green areas. We have Alexandra Park, which is right in the middle of our campus. And it's a really nice area for students to go and chill out between lectures. It's great for shopping, if that's what you're into. And if you go half an hour north, you're in the middle of nowhere, being able to climb mountains in part of Brecon Beacons National Park. If you go an hour east, you're in Bristol. If you go half an hour to 40 minutes west, southwest, you're on the beach with some of the best surfing in the UK. It's got a bit of everything, really. It's a really fantastic place to live. And kind of continuing on that point, Cardiff is a home to world-class sporting venues, including an annual half marathon that my partner, he ran that last year. It's a really amazing vibe. It was brilliant. If you're into rugby, cricket, and football, it's a great place to be for that. It also has fantastic music venues. Last year, Taylor Swift, Beyonce, Pink, Justin Timberlake, Ed Sheeran, U2, The Killers, Foo Fighters all came to Cardiff. So if you're interested in that, and also if you're interested in cultural stuff like theatre, a lot of the shows from the London West End come to Cardiff. I'm going to see Bat Out of Hell next week, which I'm really excited about. So yeah, there's so much going on. And here's just a few pictures. So yeah. And we do have, if you do want to find out more after today, you are very welcome to chat to our students. Again, I believe that this presentation will be shared with you guys. So again, just scan that QR code and you'll be able to sort of chat one-on-one with our students and ask them questions about what it's really like to be a student at Cardiff and yeah, what they really enjoy. But if you do have any questions after today, I can see that there are lots and lots of questions coming through, which is fantastic, but we might not be able to get through them all today. But if you do have any questions, we do have a dedicated international inquiries team. So it's not just one big inquiries team for the whole university. We have a team, it's dedicated for international student inquiries. It is quite simply international@cardiff.ac.uk. The team will be really happy to support you. And also feel free to follow us on our social media networks. I think that's a really good thing to do, actually, if you're able to follow universities that you're interested in on social media, because you get a really good idea of what they stand for, things that they find important, and it's a really good way to get excited about that particular time in your life where you might be going off to study at a new university. And you know, it's always very easy to unfollow people as well. So a little top tip there from me, if you do have social media and it's something you would, you know, want to invest in. I believe now I'm handing over to our students. If we move to the next slide, just trying to remember what comes next. Fabulous. So I'm going to hand back over to Shloka about to talk a little bit about your time at university. And then I will move on to going just across my screen. Then I'll ask Robert to chime in, and then I'll ask Gautam to chime in as well. And then we'll move to Q&A. So Shloka, over to you.
Perfect. Thanks, Becky. I learned so much about Cardiff that I didn't know when I was here. So that was a great presentation. Hello, everyone. Again, I'm Shloka. I'm an international student from India, and I am also an integrated master's student in neuroscience, which means I've been at Cardiff for over 4 years now. And at that time, I've had the privilege of experiencing firsthand the incredible support and opportunity that Cardiff University has to offer. This slide just gives a small glimpse of my journey here. And as a part of the degree, I had opportunity to take multiple global placements, including research-based placement at the University of Melbourne in Australia. And this obviously broadened my academic horizons, but also personal horizons. As you can see, I went scuba diving in the Great Barrier Reef, which I would have never done if I wasn't given the opportunity to do. I was also selected as an iStart ambassador for the Alzheimer's Association, which allowed me to receive a fully funded fellowship to go to a conference in Amsterdam. And this was only made possible because these opportunities were highlighted to me by Cardiff University. So it goes beyond, the support goes beyond the academic support that they're given in your school. Apart from that, I have pursued multiple internships within NHS Wales and the clinical trials units in areas which I am truly passionate about. And this was because of the guidance and encouragement for the work experience team. So this makes sure that whatever you're learning academically also translates to real world application, because you want to show the skills that you've learned in your degree through internships or part-time jobs, which brings me to my next point. This year, I have been working 2 part-time jobs. One is at Redden Lab, which is a speech biometrics company, which I found out during my placement here in Melbourne, and they were kind enough to offer me a part-time role even when I moved away from Melbourne. So this again goes on to show the importance of networking that Cardiff University emphasizes upon you while during your undergrad and your postgraduate studies. The other one that I mentioned before was me being a student futures assistant, and this is a university-based role. So there would be a lot of internal hiring in the university for part-time roles for students specifically, because they are quite aware of the academic commitments that you have. So the roles are suited and catered such a way that you're not overlooking your academic side, but you're also not overburdening yourself by undertaking all these part-time roles. Obviously, these both roles have helped me grow professionally and personally, and it also helps having a little bit of pocket money via these roles. If you have any more questions about my experiences, I'll be more than happy to take them in the Q&A. Thank you.
So my names are Engineer Robert Onditi. My nationality is Kenya. I have about 10 years experience in civil engineering. Currently, I'm a postgraduate student at Cardiff University. I'm studying Masters of Science in Building Information and Infrastructure Engineering for smart engineering. So my experience has been quite great. My journey has been long. Actually, I'm the first person in my family to ever get masters. It's quite a feat. Proud of that. And yeah, so if I can take you through my so it is true that I did my undergrad at the University of Nairobi, and I actually did my first master's at University of Nairobi as well in civil engineering. So like I said before, I had a couple of options in choosing this particular course, because University of Liverpool and Oxford Brookes are offering the same thing. But the reason why I chose Cardiff University in particular is because Cardiff had specific modules of study and units that I was looking for in acquiring skills. And when I came over, I was glad that the reception was so good. It was so easy for me to simply settle down in the hostels, in my rooms, and the facilities at the computer lab that we use at the university, quite good, because they are able to handle heavy softwares, which have been used in the building, infrastructural and information modeling. That's quite a feat, because most universities don't usually have, you won't find like a whole computer lab having such good facilities. I was quite blown aback by that. And actually, we used them even yesterday for some modeling work that we are doing. The thing that stands out with me with the Cardiff University is the fact that we each got assigned our own individual tutors and supervisors. I never had this at the University of Nairobi, to be honest, because now I feel like I'm getting like extra support, because if I get some challenge, particularly in modeling, because civil engineering is one of those courses which it's not so much theory, it's more about what you can do with softwares. And because we are doing something to the effect of artificial intelligence, digital twins, we're going inside into how artificial intelligence is changing the way construction is happening all over the world. Having my own personal supervisor really helped me to sort of like not get stuck or cocooned in particular problems, because I had that problem of analysis paralysis, if you guys know my drift, whereby you overanalyze things and you find yourself getting stuck in little problems, particularly when you are deciding which research you want to go into. Like we usually do in masters in the second semester. So it really, having a supervisor really helped me out. I love that about Cardiff University.
And Robert, can I just interrupt you? One of the things I'm interested in, you mentioned earlier on just talking about, and you could see the pride in you as well when you said you're the only person in your family to go on and do a master's. Obviously, you mentioned your background in Nairobi.
Yeah.
How easy was the application process, and how, because there'll be a lot of students from Kenya, from South and East Africa that will be watching, that will perhaps be apprehensive because it can be quite a long process and it can be daunting. How did you find the process? Did you find it very easy? Was it simple? Were there any problems along the way?
To be honest with you, it was quite easy, because why? I was using an agent, a very good agent. There's a very big agency in the middle of Nairobi, in the Westlands region. They are called UNISAV. So they broke down basically the requirements that Cardiff University wanted. Basically, they want the English IELTS result, which
Yeah.
was, for me, it was I think an average of 6.5. Apart from that, obviously, you need your bachelor's degree, and they have this system whereby they help you to apply to the university, which is Cardiff University, and they have this follow-up in terms of emails, so that whenever the university gets back, you're able to see it and they're able to see it as well, and they're able to help you follow through. Because the other issue that usually students have is following through. Making the first application is because you are all energized and you want to get this through. Getting the first application in is usually, you do it quite fast, because they only require like 2 documents, because when you're applying for masters, it's not as daunting as applying for PhD. So following up is where the agency really helped me out, because anything the university wanted in terms of assurance, in terms of financial capability, because I also got the VC scholarship, which is like £6,000, but the tuition fee is like £28,000. So if you do some quick math, 28 minus 6, this comes to 22. So you still have to raise £22,000. This is quite a fortune if you convert it in Kenya shillings. So the thing about finding bank statements, and they're helping you to balance it out in terms of exchange rates between the pound and the Kenya shilling, and making sure that the embassy requirements are also taken care of, because that's another thing. Apart from the university accepting you, you still have the British High Commission in Upper Hill that you need
Yes.
to get through because of the visa requirements. And part of the visa requirement is that they need that 22,000 to be in your account within, I think, 30 days of your departure. And apart from the tuition fee, you still have to take care of like, I think, £9,000 of the whole year's worth of accommodation. Yeah, and basically have some pocket money for your upkeep and whatever. So the British High Commission in Nairobi, Upper Hill, they require this type of thing.
Hi, my name is Gautam. I am from Bangladesh. Currently, I am studying MSc in Computational Methods in Architecture. So it's in Wales School of Architecture. If you guys don't know that Wales School of Architecture is one of the 5, I think it's in the top 5 in architecture in UK. And it's one of the, I think about 50 to 100 in QS ranking internationally. So that was actually a very important point for me to get into a very good school. Also, I was interested about learning about AI and different technologies that can be implemented in construction and architecture industry. So that was also got me interested to follow this program. So a little bit about me. I graduated and done my bachelor in Bangladesh in 2016. Then I practiced as an architect in Bangladesh for about 8 years. So then I thought, okay, I have to like upskill my current knowledge about the construction industry, and I always want to work in some capacity to big UK firm. So then I thought, okay, let's search for master's degree in UK, because the master's degree in UK the taught courses are about 1 year, so that's actually a very good point, interesting point for me. Initially, I looked into UCL, Cardiff, and also Oxford groups, because all these three university offers the similar kind of courses. But later I got offer letter from UCL and also from Cardiff. But to be honest, I got a very good scholarship from Cardiff University. I got the VC scholarship, so which is actually I think £10,000 for Bangladesh. So I can complain. I mean that's a lot. So that's why I am Cardiff, I guess. But after coming here, I'm very much astonished about seeing their facilities, because Cardiff is a very livable city. I right now I'm living in Taliban, so from my accommodation, which is also a university accommodation, my school is about just 15 minutes of walk, and I would say the walk is very pleasurable for me. I mean, it's a very safe city, so even if you go out at night around 2 a.m. or 3 a.m., it's very safe. You can just have a walk in the night. So I think that's a very important point for me.
Gautam, can I just interrupt you on that part? How important is that? Because when you're back at home, when you're in Bangladesh or wherever it might be, and you're looking at coming to the UK, which, by all means, sometimes you can look at the news and it can appear there's some things wrong and a lot of negativity at times, but ultimately it's still the hotbed for education anywhere around the world. How important is it to remember that no matter where you are, who you are, whatever your culture is, you're not going to be alone. You will feel safe, and there are so many things to do when you're there.
Well, Cardiff University actually provide lots of support for the international students, because sometimes people from Asia or generally who live in tropic, they sometimes get a little bit bored when they live in a cold city like Cardiff, or I would say UK in general. But for that, university provide lots of supports. They always arrange some get together in your uni or in your accommodation, and also the residence life stream. So whenever I get bored, I just go out and meet new friends, and sometimes I just chat it up, and they always provide lots of game nights. So those are very interesting, because those are nice social events, I would say. And also after my classes, I spend lots of time in my university building, talking to my supervisor. So I think in that sense, they are trying a lot, and they are uni is working a lot.
Yeah, of course. Gautam, thank you for your time. I really appreciate that, and thank you for waiting patiently to share your story. At this stage, Becky, would you like to come back on to the screen? We're just going to kind of go through some questions. Some have been asked and answered already, which is great. I can see you've been active on the chat, which is wonderful. But some questions that I would have really just around the university, Cardiff as a whole. One of the things that wasn't really mentioned is there's a lot of people that on an international level will know of Cardiff, would have heard of Cardiff, but won't quite understand really the size of the city. It's not a huge mega city, like you say, it's one of the top 20 cities in terms of population, but it has a big city feel to it, which is fantastic because there is everything to do there. How important is that? I go back to what I mentioned to Galtown just a moment ago, that there is everything for every culture because it is so cosmopolitan there.
100%. Yeah, it is. So the city centre of Cardiff, if you were to be transported there right now into the city centre of Cardiff, you could go shopping, you could go and have a coffee with your friends, you could go to lots of different restaurants. There's bowling, cinema, crazy golf. There's Cardiff Bay, which is it's like a kind of it's like a sort of separate add-on to the city. It's really close. It's like a 10-minute walk, but it's down by the harbour. So it's right on the sea. And it's one of these, it's kind of I'm going to say the word bougie, but I don't know if that's going to really translate across. So it's more of kind of fancy place to go. There's like really nice like little places to go and get ice cream on the
Quite
waterfront.
exclusive down there, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's very
yeah, and
nice.
it's really nice. But there's also living down there. Some of our students do live down there. So yeah, and it's just really kind of, it's a very new part of the city, so it looks new. It's very fresh. It's got a really like nice vibe to it. In the summer, it's absolutely beautiful. But everything is walkable, as I said, and as you can see from that map that I had on one of my slides, there's a lot of green space. Now, as I said, if you go half an hour north, you are in the National Park of Brecon, and that is very mountainous. However, Cardiff itself is pretty flat. The city centre is pretty flat, so everywhere is really walkable. But the great thing about Cardiff is you have the city centre, which is kind of your, like, you know, how you would kind of imagine a sort of, you know, UK city. But then outside of the city centre, you know, maybe 10 minutes, 15 minutes, there's loads of other like miniature kind of high streets. And there's like different communities within Cardiff. So you have the sort of community of like Pontcanna, which is known as a really nice kind of area, a really nice place to go and get brunch, to meet up with friends for coffee. There's the student kind of part of the city called Cateys, which is like right next to the main sort of city centre. This is a really vibrant place, lots of different kind of activities going on for different students from all different backgrounds. And as I said, culture is celebrated in Cardiff, so you know, different religious festivals are celebrated as well. So yeah, and then on that picture, actually, just going back, there's Cardiff Castle, so we have a really rich historic heritage as well. Like yeah, if you keep going, yes. Oh, actually, that go
Sorry,
back
we
to
got
the,
that.
go back
There
go
we
back
go.
to the picture with like the 6 pictures, that one.
Yeah,
The
that
one in
one.
the
Yeah.
middle at the top, you can see Cardiff Castle in the forefront of that middle at the top, but literally next behind Cardiff Castle is the Principality Stadium, which is where the likes of those massive music artists come to. You can see
Yeah.
in the bottom right hand side, you know, on a beautiful sunny day, this is right in the centre of Cardiff. The top right hand one, that's Cardiff Half Marathon when it's going past the bay. So that is that's another stadium, the Millennium Stadium. This is where a lot of the West End shows go. That is in Cardiff Bay. The bottom left hand side, you can see people shopping. We have the Victorian arcades. This is great for pictures for Instagram if you want to put some nice pictures. And then the bottom middle, that's about half an hour west, and you're by the sea. Some of the best surfing in the UK. I've lived in many cities. I've lived in Cardiff, I've lived in Brighton, I've lived in London, and I've lived in Manchester. And Cardiff is the one I will always come back to because it has everything accessible and affordable.
I think, Becky, the photo we put emphasis on where you've got the castle and then you've got Millennium
Yeah,
Stadium, Principality, whatever it's called now in the background.
yeah,
The
100%.
irony is, if you literally look to the bottom left of that, I mean, the image is cut short, you would find Cardiff City Centre, you would find St David's, because
Yeah.
it's all actually within 5 minutes. It's
Oh,
crazy.
yeah, it's so easy. It's just such, yeah. And there's always something going on. Like if you go onto like the What's On website and click Cardiff, it's like a list of different things. And
Mhm.
I mean, I drive, I live sort of about 20 minutes outside of the city centre. And there's always like the billboards up on the motorway just saying like an event's happening in Cardiff, parking might be a
Yeah.
bit difficult. Like, and it's every week because there's always something going on.
And
But if you are a quieter person, go to the beach. It's right there.
yeah, of course. And going back to the accommodation part of it as well, because you mentioned the on-campus guaranteed accommodation, which is so vital. But it's also important to mention as well that you might not want to be on campus. And if you don't, like you just alluded to there, you know, I know Cardiff very well personally, and I think you can live on the outskirts. You can go and live in somewhere like Llandaff or somewhere even
Yeah.
further out if you wanted to. And the bus links are, I mean, you won't understand. I mean, you mentioned how you drive, Becky. You won't understand until you're in the city that traffic can be a nightmare if you do
Oh
drive. But
yeah, I get
there's
the
bus
train to
lanes
work.
everywhere.
Yeah.
There's bus
So
lanes and trains everywhere. So
yeah.
it's
So
great.
I work like in the main city centre. That's where our main office is. But I live 20 minutes north, which is still in the city centre of Cardiff. But I get the train and it takes me 15 minutes on the
Yeah.
train every morning. And there's like 5 trains an hour. It's really accessible. It's not, you're not in the middle of nowhere just because you're not in London. Like
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
go ahead.
And I'm just conscious of time a little bit.
Yeah, cool.
So I want to talk about funding. There was a really great slide. I'm just going to come up to it now about the funding,
Yeah,
and
there's been
about
a lot of questions
opportunities.
about scholarships and stuff, which, yeah, so I
There
have
have
sent a
been.
link. Yeah.
Yeah, so we got scholarships and funding. Now, it's always a contentious issue because there's so many countries around the world with so many breakdowns of how many, it really does depend on where you're from, what you're eligible for. But what would you advise students that are looking for that extra little bit of help to help them get over the line? Because there will be many students that will be worried that I can't come to a prestigious university like Cardiff Uni, a Russell Group Uni. I do have to go to, let's say, a lower ranked university because I can't afford it. But there is help there, isn't there?
Yeah, so as this slide kind of alludes to, we do have scholarships for postgraduate students. So we have and I believe some of the lovely students who joined us today, who are still in the room, got some of these scholarships. So you can see it's not, we don't just advertise it and then no one gets them. People do get these scholarships. Sometimes there can be a worry that, oh, well, there's only going to be like 10 of them, so there's no point. There's always a point, like always worth putting an application, why not? So we have oh, the screen's jumping. If we go back to the scholarship screen, I don't know if
Yeah, I was going on to my next point. Carry on.
oh no worries. So I'm just yeah, so we've got the Vice Chancellor's International Scholarship. So this is a centrally funded scholarship from Cardiff University. And the awards are between 3,500 to 10,000. So we have, and you have to go onto our website. There's quite a few of them. I can't remember them all off the top of my head, but I did send that link to students who asked. I can put it in the chat as well after I finish talking. But there's a list of countries that would then be eligible for the £3,500 scholarship. We then have a list of countries that are eligible for the £6,000 scholarship, and then we have a list of countries eligible for the £10,000 scholarship. And on our website, it does state like which countries. I've had a few people ask for students based in Nigeria. Nigeria and Bangladesh, those students, it sits within the £10,000 scholarship. But you obviously do need to apply. So you would need to make an application and have an offer, and then you can apply on our website. And if you go onto the course page, I'll get that now and put that in the chat for everyone. You can then apply online for that scholarship. And as I said, it is always worth applying for a scholarship. You never know.
Yeah.
And then, as I said as well, we do also have our scholarships. We have an India scholarship. So if we have any students who are currently joining us from India today, but again, it's on certain programs, and those programs are listed on the website. And we do also have external funding. So we work closely with GREAT Scholarship, which lots of students have probably heard of. The eligible countries for our GREAT Scholarship are China, Indonesia, and Pakistan. We have a Commonwealth Scholarship for Commonwealth countries. And we also have, I'm missing one, Fulbright. And there's another one, but we do work with external
Achieving,
providers.
Marshall, to name a couple.
That's it. It was like
Yeah.
right on the tip of my tongue. It's like one of the big ones.
Yeah, Achieving is one of the big ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Marshall as well.
But those scholarships, because they're not centrally funded, because they're not sort of Cardiff centrally funded, they have their own eligibility requirements, they have their own stipulations, they have their own deadline dates. So you will need to, you can find the links on our website to their external website, but you will obviously need to meet their eligibility criteria. So it will involve research on your side, student side, but it's, as I said, it's always worthwhile. But some of the students who joined us today did say they got the scholarship. So maybe it might be worth asking them how they found the application process. I can't remember. Was it Gautam? Did you get a scholarship?
Hi, hello. Yeah, I got actually the VC scholarship from Cardiff, and also I got the GREAT scholarship like the last year. But the interesting thing is, I found that the GREAT scholarship and the VC scholarship actually are proposing the same amount of money. So I thought that it would be easier to get the VC scholarship because it's already in Cardiff University and it's an automatic process. Initially, I was very scared and anxious that even if I could like manage a scholarship or not. But to be honest, the process is actually very easy. I think there's actually two type of scholarship. One is that is provided by the Cardiff University, and others are the external scholarship. So for the external scholarship, you have to search a bit in different websites, because some are country specific, like from which country you are coming from or to which country you are going. And also there are scholarships for different region and different religions and everything. So you have to keep an open eye for that. But the scholarship that's provided by the university, I think that's a bit straightforward. I would just suggest everyone who are planning to apply to Cardiff University, just apply, because there's no fee to apply in Cardiff University. So after you got your offer letter, you can easily like go to some other sponsor and ask them to, okay, if I can get a scholarships or not. But I think you should apply first. I think that would make a lot of things easier.
Superb. Thank you, Gautam.
Yeah, you
Becky,
need to have an offer to be able to apply for the scholarship if you're looking at the central Cardiff ones. Yeah.
that was going to be my question actually to
Yeah.
begin with, before we move on. Just apply because you guys you
Yeah.
will apply all the available help, funding, scholarships that is available to it. I mean, ultimately, you want the student to come to the university. You're going to help. You're going to want to do everything in your power you can to help them, and I know you guys will. Just on a final note, just before we do wrap up, I thought this page was really important to emphasize, because we went through it in the presentation, but ultimately everybody goes to university for one reason and one reason only, and that's to further their studies, and enhance their career. So this was a great way to, I think, finish off, because there are a few companies that you alluded to earlier that are on this screen that, you know, some of your students have gone on to work for. But it would be great to hear about how you actually help a student when they have graduated, and how you kind of handhold them into their future careers and what they may choose to do.
That's excellent. And I think I will be asking Shloka to come on and speak,
Yeah.
because she works within the future students team, so actually has, you know, first-hand experience of this. But yes, so it's very much the thinking at Cardiff that we don't want to give students, you know, all of the skills and everything that you need to become a successful mechanical engineer, for example, and then throw you out into the world and you have no idea how to apply for a job, you have no idea how to interview, you have no idea how to, you know, present yourself at an interview and really sell yourself. Like, a lot of people actually really struggle to sell themselves, and that's something you really have to do in an interview, to know, because you want to get that job, you want to get that career that you've been working so hard to get to. So our careers team offer so much support and advice when it comes to interview skills, CV development, soft skill development as well, you know, presentation skills, how to network and stuff. You know, you might be really academically gifted, but the thought of having to speak to people in networking events, you know, really worries you. So giving you those kind of different tools that you will need from a very highly academic point of view, but also the soft skills that people need in their career, and how, you know, different strengths and skills that students need. So as part of our programs and stuff, there's opportunity to network with companies such as the companies you can see on screen, you know, possibilities for internships and work experience. And then once you have graduated from Cardiff, there is ongoing support that students can access. But I think at this point, Shaka, are you there? Are you able just to just sort of say how, once a student has actually graduated, what can they access post graduation?
Yep. You can still access all the support that's available to you when you're a student up to 3 years after graduation. So nothing changes. You can still pop into the hub. You can still log into your Student Futures account at Cardiff University, but the only caveat is that you'll have to be registered as a graduate student. That's the only difference. Every single level of support will still remain the same. And the other thing that I wanted to highlight, that Becky has already done a fantastic job at highlighting, is that it's not even it's not just the networking and interview prep and soft skills that we look after. We also, there's a new initiative that Cardiff Student Futures has started. It's a walk-in wardrobe, where you're going for an interview, you get to select up to 2 outfits for yourself. And I feel like that is quite interesting initiative, because you might do all the preparations in the world, but at the end of the day, if you're not dressed for what your job is at the interview, you don't know how your interview is going to go. So we definitely cover all the bases in terms of how confident you're going to feel and how you're going to sell yourself. So yeah, Student Futures has played a pivotal part in my student life here, and it'll definitely make a difference in yours as well.
Excellent, thank you. Becky, Schlocker, Robert, and Gautam in the background as well. Thank you for your time. The time has come to end the session. I leave everyone watching, whether it be live or on demand, the contact us page at Cardiff, so you can see their international at cardiff.ac.uk. You can head over to the Cardiff University website, cardiff.ac.uk/international. There is also a telephone number on there as well. I'd really recommend anyone that has any questions, concerns, to phone that phone line, because they are there to help. Sometimes a voice over the phone can be a lot better than an email or reading a message on a website. So I encourage everyone as much as possible to communicate directly with the university. And presumably, if anyone has any questions or any concerns relating to this webinar, Cardiff Uni will have your details and they will be in touch. So we have all your email addresses, all your telephone numbers, everyone's name. So please don't worry. But for now, thank you very much. We look forward to seeing you hopefully again towards the end of the year, Becky and the rest of the team. Shloka, Gautam, and Robert, thank you for your time. And thank you for watching. Take care.